There is geometry in the humming of the string. There is music in the spacing of the spheres. Pythagoras. Today I will be exploring the concept of aesthetics through Pythagoras' theory of the music of the spheres. Aesthetics and beauty is something we find in all aspects of life, especially music. Even if you don't know it, you are appreciating harmony because we as humans find certain harmonies naturally pleasing. This made me question what makes harmony in music so pleasing. In my research, I found a connection between the stars and harmony. I found evidence that the musical scales and divisions have direct relationships with the speed and distance of the stars in our solar system. I believe this mathematical connection is a part of a divine mathematical structure that rules our existence, and this structure is the basis of what we find to be beautiful. Pythagoras believed this as well and devoted his life to finding out the secrets of existence through mathematics and geometry. He believed math was at the root of the 5 main subjects that create our world: geometry, music, astronomy, mathematics, and philosophy. Many people know of Pythagoras from his equation to find a side of a triangle, but most people don't know about his contributions to music, astronomy, geometry, and philosophy. Knowledge of his life is crowded with legend, but he appears to be born in 570 BCE in Samos, Ionia, and was thought to be an enlightened being from before he was born. To his contemporaries, he was a sage and a prophet, occupying a position closer to that of Jesus or Muhammad than that of a mere teacher. After growing up in Samos, he left his home at an early age and set off to ancient Egypt and Babylon to be a student of ancient mysticism after spending many years of his life travelling and learning along the way. Around 530 BC, he travelled to Croton in Italy, where he founded a group, the Brotherhood of Pythagoreans, which was devoted to the study of mathematics. The group was almost cult-like in that it had symbols, rituals, and prayers. Pythagoras believed that number rules the universe, and the Pythagoreans gave numerical values to many objects and ideas. These numerical values in turn were endowed with mystical and spiritual qualities. The metaphysics of number and the conception that reality, including music and astronomy, is, at its deepest level, mathematical in nature. This way of thinking is what caused Pythagoras to create his concept of the music of the spheres. Pythagoras is said to be the one who figured out the ratios of the diatonic scale and the first to recognize that an octave is merely the doubling of a frequency. He was the first to make the connection between frequency and harmony and devise that harmony is just the relationship between multiple frequencies, and the harmonies that sound naturally pleasing are just divine mathematical ratios. Manly P. Hall talks about this in his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. In the Pythagorean concept of the music of the spheres, the interval between the Earth and the sphere of the fixed star was considered to be a diapason, the most perfect harmonic interval. To Pythagoras, music was one of the dependencies of the divine science of mathematics, and its harmonies were inflexibly controlled by the mathematical proportions. Pythagoras applied his newly found law of harmonic intervals to all the phenomena of nature, even going so far as to demonstrate the harmonic relationship of the planets, constellations, and elements to each other. This was the birth of the music of the spheres, an idea that will be adopted by many scientists in the future. Some problems arise with the theory of the music of the spheres. One of the problems is that Pythagoras' life was shrouded in legend and there are no writings of his teachings. The only evidence we have for his life and teachings is through accounts from other philosophers who lived around that time, as well as the fragments of knowledge in the Pythagorean community, kept alive by oral teachings. It is not until around the 4th century where we see famous historians and academics like Xenocrates and Speusippus, as well as Aristotle, make a large output of works on the life and teachings of Pythagoras and the history of the Pythagorean communities. Aristotle was known to be a student of the Pythagorean school and references this in many writings, but he did not agree with Pythagoras' theory on the music of the spheres. Stating in one of his writings, "From all this, it is clear that the theory of the movement of the stars produces a harmony, i.e., that the sounds they make are concordant despite the grace and originality with which it has been stated, is nevertheless untrue." Aristotle was partly correct when talking about the music of the spheres. There is little evidence that Pythagoras either believed in a heliocentric or geocentric view of the cosmos. This creates problems with this theory, because if Pythagoras had a geocentric view of the universe, the sun at the centre of our solar system, then his theory on the distances and movements couldn't be correct. But on the other hand, the Pythagorean philosopher Philolaus, 390 BC, states that at the centre of the universe was a central fire, around which the earth, sun, moon, and planets revolved in a uniform circular motion, which gave us the notion that Pythagoras could have known about heliocentrism. Fast forward to 1619, where Johannes Kepler revisits the idea of the music of the spheres. By age 24, Kepler had developed a philosophy that assumed the patterns of life were cosmically determined. Man is free to act only within that pattern. In the concept of the soul acting as a cosmic resonator, Kepler approached the idea of the harmony of the spheres, this time focusing on geometric forms rather than the simple numerical ratios to find the relationship within the planetary systems. Kepler believed from an early age, even before he gained competence as an astronomer, that harmony could be found in the heavens. By looking at Pythagoras' idea on the music of the spheres, he proceeded to find evidence of such harmonies. Kepler was then able to assign a frequency to each planet by means of his third planetary law. Kepler's third law, sometimes referred to as the law of harmonies, compares the orbital period and radius of the orbit of a planet to those of other planets. Unlike Kepler's first and second laws that describe the motion characteristics of a single planet, the third law makes a comparison between the motion characteristics of different planets. The comparison being made is that the ratio of the squares of the periods to the cubes of their average distances from the Sun is the same for every one of the planets. From this, he found that each planet in our solar system is playing a constant melody. In this video, you will hear a different melody for each planet.
Since the ratio of the two frequencies equals 1.053, Kepler could conclude that the sounds of the Earth at the aphelion and at the perihelion are separated by a semitone, like E and F. More generally, by using modern astronomical data, we obtain. Here, the pitches have been transposed and associated to musical notes. Mercury sings the coloratura as a treble and with an extension of an entire octave because of the great eccentricity of its orbit. Venus and the Earth sing as alto. Due to the very small eccentricity of its orbit, Venus remains almost in unison, mumbling a single tune. The Earth sings instead E-F-E, or with the Latin convention, mi-fa-mi. You may infer, even from the syllables, that in this our home, misery and famine hold sway. Mars, with an orbit of intermediate eccentricity, ranges over 6 semitones and sings the subject as a tenor. Jupiter and Saturn, with eccentricities slightly bigger than the Earth's, range over 3 semitones and sing as basso, modulating the basso continuo. This unlikely Baroque ensemble continuously plays, silently, the music of the spheres.
The idea of the music of the spheres is more beautiful than we can imagine. There's an aesthetic quality to this music, the harmony of the universe that is truly divine but yet created by physical properties. There's a sense of divinity inherently in nature, and this must express itself through harmony, whether that be musical or not.